Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Paulo, and today I actually want to cover about how to get in the mind of your prospect, right? And I think that this is really important, and I want to share with this, I want to share this stuff with you. But before I do, I want you to take a look at the board, right behind you. There's a lot of writing behind me, but there's actually a word right in the middle that I want you to look, and that word, did you find it yet? That's right, it's success, right? And that's exactly what I want to do in this video. I want to share as much value as I can with you guys so you guys can have a better understanding on how your prospect thinks, right? Because when you begin to understand how your prospect thinks, you begin to understand their thought patterns. You begin to understand the conversation that they're having. And this is key because when you understand the conversation that they're having in their mind, you're able to relate to them. You're able to say and know what to say. You're able to share certain things with them that they would find as value, right? And this is important because, when talking to a prospect, most likely they have a problem. And when you figure out what the problem is, you present yourself as the solution. And when you do so, people buy into you, okay? And people will follow you because they know that you have the solution to their problem, right? Not only that, but they also think that you're probably like their best friend because you can relate with them so well, right? So, that's what I want to share with you. And I also want to get a little bit more in specifics about two things that maybe you're aware, maybe you're unaware, but maybe these two things can actually be holding you back and closing in your prospect into getting the results that you're looking for. One second, my hand's a little shaky. Into getting the results that you're looking for your business, right? So let's begin, right? Let's start off. I want to share a quick story with you, right? And this is actually when I first decided to make the decision to actually, to start walking in the direction where I wanted to go, to mark myself as an entrepreneur, to say, you know what, I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I want to become a business owner, and I actually want to start living my dreams. I want to be able to just enjoy time. I don't want to think about Monday. I don't want to think about, having to go to work or anything like that. I don't want to work for the next 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years, right? I don't want to work all my life, all right? And this is actually when I went to Barnes and Nobles. And I was actually in the section, I was kind of looking. I had a problem, and I was looking for answers, right? And I'll never forget, this was actually my first book that I picked up, which actually it's called Rich Dad Poor Dad. You probably heard of it, maybe you haven't, right? But I'm pretty sure you've heard of it, right? Everybody has heard of Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? And the author, it was Robert Kiyosaki, right? And I'll never forget, it was a little book that I picked up, right? And I can remember that the title itself was pretty captivating. Rich Dad Poor Dad, what's this about, right? So when I opened up the book, I read the first few pages, right? And when I began to read the first pages, I was captivated about what it was saying. As a matter of fact, I was sold on the book even before I read through the whole book, because I began to say to myself, like, man, the author, it's almost like the author knows me. Like, he knows what I'm going through. Like, he knows the problems that I'm facing. He knows how I feel, right? And I knew that at the same time, he understood how I felt, but I knew that he was at a place where I wanted to go. So because I knew that, I was like, you know what, I'm going to pick up this book, right? And I bought the book. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because when you begin to understand the prospect and how they think, you're able to share stuff with them. You're able to say stuff that allows them to be able to relate with you. And that's important, because when you're able to relate with the customer, or should I say the prospect, then you begin to have the prospect buy into you. And that's key, right? Because if you begin to do that, right, that's going to be amazing, right? How good would it be to understand the conversation of what they're having in their mind? And that's exactly what I want to show you. I want to share with you how we can have a better understanding of the conversation that they're saying. So then you can say exactly what you need to say so they can buy into you, right? And that's the key right there, right? But before we get into it, I want to talk about, a few things. And the first thing is that, you're not marketing. The product is not your product, okay? What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that the product is people, all right? It's never an energy drink. It's nothing like that, right? The product is people. So when you begin to learn people, you begin to realize that the real product that you're marketing is change. What do I mean by change? Change is basically anybody who's looking to change, anybody who's looking to become successful, anybody who's tired of working the 9 to 5, anybody who wants financial freedom, anybody who doesn't want to fall into the system, anybody who wants to make six-figure income, anybody who's looking to do something with their life, right? And that's what you begin to learn. You begin to learn that what you're marketing is change. You're looking for people who are willing to change. right? Kind of like the same way I was reading that book. At that very moment, and I was the right person at the right time, just reading the right book, because at that time, that's exactly what I was looking for. I was looking for change. It's simple as that. I was looking for change, right? And when you begin to understand this, then you begin to qualify the people who you should be talking to. And at the same time, you begin to just know what to say to those people, because what you're marketing is change. And this is important, right? And one of the things I want you guys to understand is, you see, what's really attractive about people following you and people saying yes to you is the fact that if they see in you change and they see that you can offer the solution, then guess what? They're going to buy into you, right? So let's talk about 3 things that you should do. The first thing is that you want to identify the problem, right? You want to figure out what's causing them to feel pain, right? This is what I call like a cut. Like, pretend your prospect has a cut, right? A cut in the finger, a cut in the leg, right? And then the next thing you want to do is that you want to agitate the problem, right? What do I mean by that? You want to put some alcohol on the cut, right? Because you want to clean it up. And then the third thing is that you want to present yourself as a solution, all right, which is the Band-Aid. You want to put the Band-Aid on that, right? When you do this, people will say, wow, this is what I want to do. The same way I was captivated with the book that I was reading. It only took me the first page of the book to realize that this is what I wanted to do, to realize that this is the book that I needed to read, to realize that this is going to be the author that was going to help me and answer some of the questions that I needed to be answered, right? Let's talk about those 2 things that I mentioned before earlier in the video, right? What are those 2 things, right? The 2 things that I want to talk about happen to be the fact that you need to understand, you need to be able to relate with the prospect, right? And this is part of understanding their conversation, all right? You relate with them so then they can understand and they know that if you've done it and you've been through it and now they see where you're at, they have inspiration, they have hope. Now, the one thing that you don't want to do is be attached to how they feel. So for example, let's say that the prospect is broke and has no money but is looking to change. You can't attach yourself to that, meaning that you can't share your feelings and say, well, I feel, I kind of feel how you're feeling, man. I'm pretty much broke too, and I'm looking for change as well. That's something that you don't want to do, right? You don't want to attach yourself to whatever the problem that they're having. As a matter of fact, you just want to be able to relate with them, because when you relate with them, you can connect with them, right? So the biggest thing that we want to understand here is that, I want you to picture this. I want you to picture that you're on one side and then your prospect is on the other side, okay? When you begin to do what I'm telling you and you begin to understand people, okay, then you're going to begin to understand how prospects think. And by you doing that, you're going to create a bridge that your prospect is going to cross over, and you're going to get them into your team. You're going to get them into your business. You're going to get them enrolled, and you're going to be really happy about that, right? Now, how do you understand people? This is so important, because the way you understand people is by first understanding yourself. You see, when you begin to understand yourself, you begin to understand how other people are. You begin to understand the psychology behind, how people think and how people react and how people respond, right? So what the biggest takeaway of this whole segment is the fact that in order for you to understand people, you need to invest in yourself. So what are some of the things that you should be doing? You should be personally developed, right? You should develop daily. You should try to figure out, and you shouldn't even go to bed. As a matter of fact, I think it's like 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, right? But I'm up, and I'm up because I'm willing to pay a price. I'm willing to pay a price because I know where I want to go and I have a clear, expectation of what I want to do. But I'm not going to go to sleep until I know that today I became a better man than I was yesterday, right? And that should be your attitude, right? If you take this serious, you want to constantly be investing in yourself. Because when you do, I promise you, you will begin to understand yourself. And when you begin to understand how you think, you begin to understand how your prospect thinks. All right, guys? So what I want you guys to do right now, I want you to just, if you guys really thought that this was awesome, I want you to just give me a comment or write your feedback or write what you learned or whatever the case is, right? And if you guys want to share this video, go for it. All right? I hope this was useful, guys. I'm going to be logging out, and have a good night. Take care.